the third installment of our course. It goes so fast. And so the first class is focused on what?
Knowing yourself.
Knowing yourself is the foundation. The second one is on what?
Healing.
Heal yourself. How to self-help. Okay. The third lesson today is on self-transcendence. How to transcend yourself. Okay. And so we are moving from survival, just stay alive, to healing, to healing the broken part of our life, to the last stage of flourishing, of thriving, of living a happy, vital, and fulfilling life. So the whole process is a journey, right? So we have come a long way. So today we are focused on self-transcendence. Now, you might wonder, why self-transcendence? Why not self-actualization? Why not self-fulfillment? Okay? Do you know what self-transcendence is? Does anybody knows what self-transcendence is? Nobody.
Well, it's striving for something that's more than just self-centered. It's striving for something that's better for others or for some higher ideal.
Yeah.
Or transcendence is like more like evolving outside of ourselves, kind of.
Thank you. You got an idea. Basically, self-transcendence means that instead of asking what I can get out of life, you ask what can I give towards life. It's a difference. Yeah, not here, for example. You can ask, well, what can I get out of this group? Now you ask, what can I contribute to the group? If you think about contributing to the group, you'll be happier, you feel better for everybody. You think, what can I get out of the group? Then me, you might be disappointed. You might say, oh, the food is not good enough, or the lecture is not good enough, or the people are not good enough. You find reasons to make yourself miserable. So, if you learn and understand how to practice self-transcendence, it's a new way of looking at life. Do you see my new glasses? So if you learn self-transcendence, like you're able to look at the world with a new lens. Wow, everything is clearer. Everything is brighter. Everything is more beautiful. It will make all the difference in your life. Now, if you don't believe me, we'll go through the lesson, you'll find out, okay? But this is a fundamental paradox in life. Remember what Jesus said? He that loses his life will find it, right? Mm-hmm. Buddha said, if you experience non-self, then you enter the paradise. The idea is the same. Once you step out of yourself, forget yourself, and think about others, how to serve others, then your life becomes more meaningful. You get the idea now? Mm-hmm. You get that idea? Oh, sure. No longer me, but others. What can I do for others? So that is a very important lesson, okay? So we'll learn some skills that help you to build a new life, new future, based on the wisdom of self-transcendence. Now here is an interesting statement by Royal May. His depression is the inability to construct a future. Do you know what I mean? If you're depressed, you know how depression looks like? You're depressed, you would think the future will be just as bad as today, right? You cannot even imagine that the possible of a better future. You always think today is better than yesterday, tomorrow will be as better today, so therefore I'll be depressed. Right? But if you are able to think about how can I, how can I create a better future, then you're not depressed, right? Do you know why? But that gives you hope, right? If you think about how can I create a better future in my situation, with my resources, how I create a better future, right away your depression will leave you. And you have hope and purpose and energy. Okay? Now, I'm saying that there is a journey, personal growth, personal development is a journey, is a process. And here is some of the stages. Okay? You begin with what? You begin with reflection. Self-reflection means that reflect on your own life. Reflect on your past. Okay? If you reflect on your life, see what has gone wrong, what have I done wrong, how can I do it better? If you reflect on your own life, then you gain self-awareness and self-knowledge. And from there you move to self-determination and self-transcendence. Who is this guy? Socrates, right? If you go to Greek, you see this know yourself on the temple. Right? And he also said that the unexamined life is not worth living. And why? Do you know why that's so? If you just live day by day, never think about your life is not worth living. True or wrong? If you never think about your life, just live day by day, eat, sleep, go to washroom, go to bed, then you're no different from a pig. You'll be ignorant pig, right? Eat and sleep and go to washroom. Right? You know, your life is not much better than a pig or a cow, right? And and the second thing is self-determination. Now, self-determination means what? Means I do whatever I like. I like to take drugs. I like to play video games. I like to get drunk. Does it mean that? What is self-determination mean? It means what? Anybody can give me a good definition?
The freedom to choose, to make choices, and the ability to face consequences of those choices.
Okay, good. Thank you, Steve. Here's a guy who's a wise man, right? Does he look like a wise man? he's handsome and wise, right? I embarrass him, okay? Now, self-determination doesn't mean that you're free to do whatever you want. When you do whatever you want, you're actually not self-determination. You're actually determined by your instinct, by your desires, by your lust, by your flesh. So you're not self-determination. You're being driven by your desires. Self-determination means that you're able to free yourself from the negative forces from the past. So you're not determined by your parents. You're not determined by your past environment, past experience. You're not determined by your culture. You're not determined by your environment. You're not determined by your gene. You're able to choose a path that's good for you. Before you're too old, you better choose a path that's just for you. This is the path I want to go. Even my parents tell me otherwise. Even my culture tell me otherwise. Even society tell me otherwise. But if you're able to choose the path of self-determination, then you'll be able to heal yourself. Then. Worldview. What is worldview? Worldview. What is worldview? Yes?
How you look at everything around you.
How you look at the world, how you look at people, how you look at yourself, how you relate to this world. Now, I have a client who's from China, okay? Now, we talk about spiritual issues. She said, well, in China, we're trained that there's no God. There's no God. Atheist, okay? So he said, how can we talk about spiritual things if I don't believe there's a God? So she has been influenced by the culture in China, right? Her father is an officer in People's Liberation Army. So she's really into, being indoctrinated by communism. Now, if you're not communist, in North America, then your view will be also influenced by the society in terms of consumerism, right? To be happy to buy, to buy things. It's not China has both consumerism and communism go hand to hand, okay, now. But the problem is that if you simply embrace the view of society, then you're not your own person, right? You need to ask yourself, what are your core beliefs? What are your core values? Your beliefs, your values have to be good for you, right? Be good for you. It may not be what your parents tell you or society tell you. So self-determination means to choose and develop the kind of views and beliefs and values that help you to live a more productive, more happy life. If you simply buy the worldview from your parents, from the government, from society, then you're not yourself. Okay? Now, the third point of this is self-transcendence. Remember, at the beginning, I said, some of you might wonder, why self-transcendence, why not self-determination? Do you know Abraham Maslow? Maslow is a very famous humanistic psychologist. When he get older, and he look around, all the people who are successful and famous, they have met all their needs. They have financial need, self-esteem need, relational need. They have met all their needs. They've actualized their potential to become a famous professor or famous scientist. But they are not happy. And they're not good people. So he said, well, there must be something wrong with my theory, he said. Why is it the people who have met all their needs, who have fulfilled their potential, they're still miserable? What's wrong? Then he finally get the insight. He said, well, these people's problem is that they have too much ego. Ego, E-G-O, too much me. Too much of themselves. So the highest achievement of human being had to be self-transcendence. You see discovery? Once you transcend yourself, then you become a better person, a happier person. So that's Maslow's discovery, okay? And so here, here my summary, it says that if you want to actualize yourself, if you want to be truly, fully human, you have to transcend yourself. Now this is a paradox, right? in order to be fully human, fully developed, you have to transcend yourself. Okay? So that is my introduction. Okay. Now we'll look at different theories about how to transcend yourself. Okay. So each theory offer you some tips, some guideline how to improve your life. And then I will focus on Frankel's theory. So any questions so far before we move to the next section? Do you want to write a test? Okay, here then. First of all, let's learn from the ancient Greeks. The Greek people are very smart people, okay? They're very smart. Western civilization is greatly influenced by Greek philosophers. Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, right? So Greek philosophy is very influential in Western civilization. Now the first person we look at is Aristotle. Okay, Aristotle. Aristotle is very famous for his theory about eudaimonia. What is eudaimonia? Anybody know Greek? Eudaimonia.
How do you spell it?
Huh?
How do you spell?
Eudaimonia usually translated called happiness, okay? And actually it's not quite accurate because his concept about eudaimonia is not quite the same as American concept of happiness, right? He also said that the purpose of life is eudaimonia. So happiness is the ultimate purpose. So are you happy today? Are you happy today? Oh, yeah, very happy, see? Are you happy? Yeah. So we're a happy group here. So happiness is much deeper according to Greek philosophy, okay? And basically Aristotle's idea is that to be happy, you have to cultivate virtue and excellence in your life. Sounds familiar? So it's not, oh, you'll be happy, oh, go to see a good movie or get a good meal. But happiness is a lifetime task. Do you have a happy life? You can't not answer it now. You can only answer that when your life is almost over. When you look back, my life is pretty good. I have done this, I've done that. I've developed this virtue, and I have excelled in this and that. So you can't decide whether you have a happy life until you have achieved some excellence, achieved some virtue. And here are the 4 cardinal virtues that everybody should aim to strive. Now another thing about Aristotle, in a way like Chinese thinking, is the middle way. It's a Chinese philosophy called 中庸之道. Not extreme. Your virtue carried to the extreme will become a vice. Okay? That confidence is good, it's virtue, right? But overconfidence become a vice. So overconfidence means too arrogant, right? Overconfidence, happiness is good. But over happiness is bad. You know why? Because you might become foolish. 乐极生悲, You're too happy, something bad may happen. You're too happy, right? So too happy is not very good. There has to be the middle, 中庸之道, the middle part. So this is Aristotle. So you want to learn some transcendence, learn a happy life, think about a virtuous life, to cultivate your virtue, but not too much. just right. 中庸之道。